Hi guys, and welcome back to Scribe Gaming. I'm your man Scribe, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Okay, so we're going to pick it up where we left off with our How to Make It Free to Play guide, and today we're going to be talking about character farming. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty guys, so for us to really plot out how we go about farming our characters, we need to assess how much crystal income do we have per day, because that's ultimately going to frame how much we are going to be farming, where we're going to be refreshing, etc, etc. So I want you to take a look at your account, and I want you to think about your variable crystal income and your static crystal income. They're very easy to establish. Your static crystal income is the crystal income that you're going to get every single day, regardless of what happens in the game, okay? And the variable crystal income is things that can change, okay? So I'm talking about crystals from events. Crystals in Arena is technically a variable crystal income because you're not everybody is guaranteed to hit the same payout each week. And from achievements, rewards, giveaways, anything that you might get from a give back from CG, for example. This is stuff that you can't rely on. So looking at your static crystal income, we would look at things such as the daily login rewards. Now, every month we get rewards for logging in each and every day. You can see we've got crystal rewards here. Now, these always add up to 500 crystals a month, which works out at about 17 or 18 crystals per day on average. So we can already add in roughly 17 crystals per day on average as part of our static crystal income. I know it's not a lot, but it all adds up. Next up, we can look at our objectives. Now, I've done most of my objectives from this particular day, but usually you can get a good 50 to 60 crystals per day. I can't remember the exact figure on this. Let's call it 60 crystals per day just from doing all your daily objectives. So that's the other part, guys. You have to log in every day, and you have to make sure you hit all your objectives each day. Okay, you need to have that daily income of crystals. Now, this last one here, you can see this gives you 27 crystals for completing all of your objectives, but also this box here, the daily activity prize box, once you've hit level 85, also has a chance of dropping up to 250 crystals. Now, personally, I would not add that in because that is variable income. Personally, I would not add that in because that is completely variable income, and it's incredibly rare to get a good amount of crystals from this daily box. So far we're saying 50 to 60 crystals per day from daily activities, about 18 from monthly login. And then you've got stuff like Galactic War, for example, that gives 25 crystals per day. So we can safely say, I don't know, roughly about 80 crystals per day is entirely static. Yeah, you'll always get that. On average, that's one refresh and a little bit left over. Now that gives you the opportunity to hit your 600 tickets a day without actually spending anything else. So when we're looking at variable crystal income, we'd look at places such as the arenas. Now this is going to be highly variable for wherever you guys place an arena. So I want you guys to take a look and think, hey, I normally finish in the top 200 and I'll add 75 crystals per day to my crystal stash that I can use. If you guys are top and you get that 500 crystals, amazing. That's going to be feeding your crystal needs forever, basically. So we look at Squad Arena, we look at Fleet Arena. Now, Fleet Arena obviously has slightly less rewards, and it's got a higher barrier to entry before you start earning some crystals. But you can still definitely add these crystals to your variable income per day. Okay, cool. So we've established we want to figure out what's our variable, what's our static crystal income. Put that into a melting pot and you think, great, there we go. I've got all my crystals. I know how much I'm bringing in per day. What I would do, what I recommend you do once you've calculated your crystal income is not to look at it and think, okay, so I get 400 crystals per day. I'm going to do 3 regular energy. I'm going to do 3 fleet energy. That's what, 300 crystals out of my 400 per day. And then I'm going to use 100 crystals refreshing Cantina. That's all my crystals gone. I've spent them. Fantastic. I don't recommend you do that because it's... One, I would always recommend you try and save like 10% of your daily crystal income. That can then help build up a little bit of a nest. I'm not an advocate of saving all your crystals and having a big stash of 50,000 crystals. For most free-to-play people, that's actually a waste and it's going to hold you back. Now, I know it might seem like a bit of a hypocrite because I've got about 8,500 crystals here at the moment. but that's just because I'm saving for when Jedi Knight Luke comes back, and I want to make sure that I can get absolutely everything to take him to R7 immediately. So that crystal stash is only a temporary stash for me, but I do recommend you guys do save a little bit, and that will go towards gearing. We'll talk about that a little bit more in another video. So, okay, you've got your crystal stash. You say you're going to save 10% of your crystal income a day, be that 50 crystals, be that 100 crystals, whatever. The next thing we have to look at is who are we farming, where are they from, and how are we going to go about doing it. Okay, so I'd recommend everybody starts working towards any particular legendary character that they need. Okay, so all you're going to really do is you're going to say, for example, I'm going after Padme. Seems like a noble goal to me. Go after Padme. You go to the journey guide and you think, okay, so where is Padme? Where is Padme? There she is. Isn't she marvelous? Prerequisites, be level 45. Activity, okay, what do we need for the Padme event? I need separatist droids. Fantastic. Or separatists in general. I want you to go there and I want you to think, okay, so for Padme I need to get B1, I need to get B2, I need to get Droidica, and Magna Guard. You don't have to, obviously, you can get any of these separatists, but I'm using this as a for instance. Okay guys, so you've gone through and you've favorited all the characters that you need for your particular farm, whatever you're going for at the time. What I'd recommend you guys do, and I found this incredibly useful throughout the entirety of when I was farming for these sort of characters, go to something like Google Documents, open up a spreadsheet, use Excel if you have Microsoft Office, and think about building something like this. Now, I did a quick mock-up just to show you the sort of thing that I used to do. So if we take a look here, what I've got in this section here, we've got regular energy. This section here, we've got fleet. This section here, we've got crystal, cantina, sorry. And over here, we've got our crystal income in our expense. So what you do is you'd put in your crystal income here. This little crystal expense is just tallying up all the different costs that we have associated. So over here, we've got regular energy. We get 240 energy of that per day naturally. We get 3 lots of bonus energy. And then I've got just a very basic formula here to show any bonus energy that I've got. I could change that to 0. And it tallies up how much energy I've got. Now over here in the bottom section, we've got any farms that are associated with it. And we can tally up the amount of energy spent. So we know, do we need to refresh? So over here, we can see we've got 10 sims of Droidica. Because that's the only hard farm, we don't need to refresh. But if I was to do 20 sims of Droidica, for example, you'll see over here my remaining energy has dropped below 0, meaning I'd need to refresh. So over here, I'd go 1 refresh. You can see that's added a crystal expense down here, and that's adding up into my total crystal expense on the right-hand side. So what this will be able to do is this will be able to tell you, do you need to refresh, and how much crystals are you spending? Not only that, but something like this can also show you and help you calibrate the event horizon of all your farms. So we input the number of shards we need. We've said how many sims we're doing. This shards per day is basically a multiplier of your number of sims. You times it by the drop rate, which is 33%. Double that for an accelerated farm. And then it gives you an idea of roughly when will you finish your farm. 25 days. Tallies up the energy expenditure. Do we have any node refreshes on this character? Yes, we do in this instance. And how much is that going to cost us in crystals? This will all add up into our crystal expense up here because we'll just add in these expenses. Okay, so this also helps you, like I said, align your event horizon. When are these characters going to finish farming? 25 days here, 30 days here, and these guys in total, they're both on the same cantina, 30 days. So these guys are all relatively the same sort of event horizon, aren't they? We could make it even closer. If we did 15 sims a day, and we did this for a number of days, just to close the gap in number of shards needed, and then we stop doing that refresh. If you do something like that, you can manipulate your farms to make sure that they all finish at the same time. This will make sure that you're not wasting crystals unnecessarily. Because you could be like, I really need to finish my Droidica. I'm going to do 20 sims a day of him, but only 5 days of B1. Look at the difference in days to finish now. 60 days and 12. This is why I find these things very useful to keep track of. This is just a very rudimentary spreadsheet that I built in like 5 minutes just now, because I used to do this sort of thing a lot, and I found it was really helpful in making sure that I planned out my farms correctly. And then you can see, look, I've got additional energy to spend. I've got 175 additional energy. You could think of that. You could be like, okay, so could I add an additional hard node farm? You could do a 20 energy hard node farm there for maybe one of your future farms. Or do I use that spare energy and start farming into gear? So this shows that you've got some remaining energy. So maybe you use that energy. Do you start another farm for a future legendary character? Do you start farming things like Django and Houndstooth and that sort of thing with the spare energy? Do you start farming gear? It gives you an opportunity to see, do you need to refresh? Where's your spare energy? What can you do with it? I find this sort of organization was super helpful for me, so I'd recommend you guys try and build something like this. They're super easy to do, and all you have to do is just update the number of shards you got. You know, once you've done a few more days and you're like, actually now I only need 120 Droidica shards, and then it'll recalculate all the number of days to finish and that sort of thing. And you can make sure that you stay on track this way, and make sure you don't overspend crystals where you don't need to. And that means you can use those crystals then in more useful endeavors. Perhaps you can use that to purchase certain bits of gear that you need in order to finish farming a character to G13, to relics. So I'd recommend you guys do something like this. Now, gear has become much bigger crunch than character shard farming, especially now with the introduction of the accelerated rate characters, those that are dropping twice as many shards as the original rate characters. This means that you are going to be 7-starring your characters a lot faster than you're gearing them, okay? So always be conscious of the fact that you do need to worry about gear. Go on to SWGoH, check out the gear requirements. You know, if we... Let me just go up to SWGoH, and we'll just take a look at what benefits this place can bring you, okay? So I use SWGoH all the goddamn time. Okay, you could take a look and you could go, let's go Jedi Knight Anakin. We can find lovely Jedi Knight Anakin here, and we can go to, either you can go full gear list or you can go to gear levels. Full gear list is more useful as a snapshot, whereas the individual gear levels might be useful if you just want to see what are you going to need to take him from gear 9 to gear 10. But we can come here and we can say, hey look, he needs 300 stun cuffs. That's quite a bit of stun cuffs. He needs, what do we know, at least Mark III Sienna holo projectors. They're incredibly useful. So take a look at this and think, well, I'm about to unlock him, but I don't have 300 stun cuffs. So maybe then you look at, okay, I'll go and farm stun cuffs with my leftover energy. Alternatively, stun cuffs actually form part of some very useful character farms. I believe we can get stun cuffs from the Hyena Bomber. So you could kill 2 birds with 1 stone on this in this instance. Look, the Hyena Bomber hard node. If you still need your Hyena Bomber, perhaps you start using fleet energy on him. You'll get stun cuffs. You'll also get these Mark IV Cheddar comlinks. They're also very useful. You'll also get some additional shards from Jedi Consular Starfighter. Whilst it's not a good ship, it can still give you shard shop currency. Shard shop currency will feed into your gear. So try and think about, you know, if you are going to spend energy on farming particular gear pieces, some hard nodes are particularly valuable. Hyena Bomber is one of them. Another one would be Jango Fett's node. Let's take a look at Jango Fett's node and see what we can get there. So Jango Fett, whilst being a great bounty hunter, also has the benefit of being a Houndstooth node. So this will feed into you preparing for your fleet shard. And take a look. It also has stun cuffs. So it's useful for you guys to take a look at finding the gearing on SWGoH for your current teams, figure out what is needed, and then find hard nodes that also feed into that, whilst also benefiting you elsewhere. It's nodes like this, guys. Nodes like this is what gives you the most bang for your buck. You're getting bounty hunters, you're getting top of the range fleet, you're getting gear. Triple threat, all from one node. Fantastic. Jango Fett is also, as you can see, an accelerated farm now. You'll star him up super quickly. He's very useful in a bounty hunter fleet. You've got to think about these things as a free-to-play player. Now, there is obviously a downside to hard node farming, in so much as you are going to be spending twice as much energy. So you won't get the gear as quickly as if you were to just find, if we were to go to, let me just find a character that needs a stun cuff. Okay, here we go. If we were to go to Old Men here and we'll find, where can we get stun cuffs from? We can see we can get them from the guild store. Great, but what if the guild store currency is really tight at the moment? You can obviously get it from shipments. Stun cuffs is probably not one of the ones that's amazingly good crystal value, but if you need it, you need it. You can see here, Umbaran Fleet, useful for Galactic Republic, also gives you stun cuffs, great. but you could also get it from light side D. That's half as much energy as farming from either of these hard nodes, meaning you can get twice as many sims, which theoretically means twice as many stun cuffs. So think about these sorts of things. I personally, for an early game player, I would think more about try to get these high value nodes like the Hyena Bomber one, like Jango Fett's node. You know, these ones give you more overall value, but it's at the expense of not gearing up as quickly. So yeah, guys, head over to SWGoH, take a look at your characters and think, okay, this is what I need. You can also sign up. Anybody that's not signed up to SWGoH, do it immediately. It's incredibly useful. It's got a whole wealth of tools that you can use. Now, this is my current account at the moment. I can actually go down here and we can see Galactic Legends gear needed. This is a relatively new feature that they've introduced, and it's incredibly useful. We can take a look at all the Galactic Legends and Jedi Knight Luke, because I guess he's a pseudo-Galactic Legend. You can click on these characters, and provided your account is up to sync, it will show you how much gear do you need of each type. This is why I'm hoarding gear at the moment, because I want to unlock Jedi Master Luke. So I know I need 900 Mark III Carbantis, 750 stun cuffs. This sort of thing, guys, is incredibly useful for your planning. You know what to look out for. You think, well, I need so many Carbantis. Yes, I get about 60 a week from challenges, but it's so much more than anything else I need. Maybe I'm going to put a little bit of extra guild currency into getting it from the guild store. Maybe I'm going to start farming a regular node to try and get additional stun cuffs or whatever you need, or stun guns, or I'm going to keep an eye out for them in the shard shop exchange. Doing this sort of thing will make sure that you are prepared to gear everybody up as soon as possible. Timing is important in this. Okay, guys. Okay. Now, I think I've rambled on long enough. Those are just a few of the tips that I would recommend. So let's do a quick summary. Establish your crystal income. Yeah. Start favoriting all the characters that you need for your given farm now. Once you're finishing these off, consider looking at your next farm and start getting the shards for them. Establish what sort of gear requirements you need and what is your event point horizon to try and make sure that all your character farms finish at the same point, because there's no point having one guy finish weeks ahead of the other. Yeah. Take a look on SWGoH. Keep track of the gear that you need. Allocate, prioritize whatever gear has the highest requirement for where you're going. Oftentimes it is going to be Carbantis, it's going to be stun guns, it's going to be stun cuffs, Mark V droid callers, all this sort of jazz. And try and save 10% of your crystals to build up a little bit of an income, just a nest egg, so that you can emergency purchase gear that you need to take someone to relics, for example. I would recommend not really going too far above 5,000 or 10,000 crystals. That can just be your safety net, okay? I don't recommend saving up 50,000 crystals. I've done it. All it did was slow me down. So, yeah, that's to cap it all off. I'm sorry this has taken a lot longer than normal, guys, but I hope it's useful to some of you. And we're going to be taking a look at modding in the next video. All right, guys, thanks for joining, and I hope you guys had a fantastic time. Peace out. Just giving a quick shout out to my patrons. I appreciate each and every single one of you, and without your support, I wouldn't be doing this today. Thanks so much.